Hello, it's Leanne Phillipson, registered nutritionist. Holy smokes, sorry about Instagram lighting. The sun is kind of setting and I seem to be like overexposed, and then Facebook looks a little bit on the darker side, so I'm not quite sure what's going on today. I've definitely lost my I've lost my tech expert, my daughter, since us not being in self-isolation anymore. Then my kids go between their dad and myself, so they've gone to my dad. So yeah, so now it's just me and the cameras. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here to cook together. I think it's day 15. It's a little bit like, what day is it today? And also, I don't know, it's just all of that. So say hello if you want. Hi, Crystal, I can read that. And Julie Graham wants to request to be live in my video. I don't even know what that means, Julie. So I'm not really sure what to do with that. And I can't quite reach the buttons. I would ask Logan to do that if that was possible. But that's cool. Thank you for wanting to be on the video too. I guess maybe you're in it. I'm not really sure. You want to cook along with me? And you too. You want to be on the video too. I'm not sure how to do that. I think we might have to wait until Logan comes back on the weekend, and we're doing some other videos. So ask again, but when I can't, because I can't actually reach it, I gotta press the button and then I gotta run around the islands. Anyway, so today, self-isolation day. No, actually today was an exciting day. I went out and I did my own shopping. And boy, was that an experience. Holy smokes. Drove into Costco's car park, saw the lineup and just drove right out, and then went to my local favorite place to go shopping, which is called the Sweet Potato, and that's just in the junction near where I'm in Bloor, west of Toronto. And still stood in line for like probably about 30 minutes or so, and then got in, had my gloves on and took every precaution that I felt that I needed to, and washed hands and did all of those kind of things. So that was, I felt like I was doing just fine, packed my own bags, all that kind of stuff. And so made it out and only forgot one thing. So I thought that was pretty good, even though I wrote it down on my list. I forgot to look at my list because I was trying to self-distance from everybody else, so trying to watch what I was doing, not looking at my list. So anyway, we will make more mayonnaise because we ran out. The girls like with their sweet potato fries, they like having mayonnaise and hot sauce mixed together. That's their sauce of choice. So we actually made our own mayonnaise. So lots of new experiences. So today, I'm sitting here holding on to my book just for something to hold on to. Today we're gonna make bean burgers and sweet potato fries. Even if you're not a plant-based burger lover, I encourage you to try this anyway, rather than just saying, no, not doing that. I had a client before on the phone just before getting ready for this, and she was saying, okay, I'm gonna give them a go. And she was gonna add beans to her list. So she can do it, so can you. And you're not even paying me for for my advice, but I still suggest it because they're super high in fiber. They're incredible. So today I pulled out my food processor. I don't always use this because it's kind of in the back of the cupboard, but I thought today, why not? Because it's super fast. But please know with this recipe, if you do not have a food processor, you can do this in your blender. You can do this with a potato masher. And remember the other day when what did I make? I made the soup. And I used this. It's attached to this. I guess we need both pieces. So a hand blender. So when I did cooking classes years and years ago, I did have some of these, but I didn't have enough for everybody. So we made this recipe with this hand blender in a bowl. So don't feel like, oh no, I can't make this just because I don't have all the gear. Know that you totally can. So these are fiber rich, which is incredible for the health of your gut, of your microbiome. We need to have lots and lots and lots of fiber so that those good bugs keep on what's called proliferating. So it feeds the good bugs, makes more good bugs, and it just keeps on going. Of course, taking a probiotic, that's foundational as well, but in getting things like prebiotics and good bacteria into your gut is such a sneaky way to help to support support your immunity, because 80%, some people say 70, some people say more than 80, but let's just say around 80% of your immune system is found in your gut. So it's a great way to give your immunity a helping hand. So back to the bean burgers. Do you remember when I made the quesadillas a few nights ago? Can't even tell you what day that is, but know that all of the videos are now up on YouTube except for yesterday's. And I used aduki beans in the quesadillas, and these little, I just think they're so cute. These little aduki beans versus this is a pinto bean. So this is not even as big as a kidney bean. I don't even know if I can get close enough to show you. So I'm using up the aduki beans that I didn't put in all of the quesadillas, and then I just opened a can of pinto beans, gave them a quick rinse, and threw them in here. So also what's gonna go into here is a small onion. That's kind of like I'd call that a bit of a medium onion. And I didn't even get any knives out. I'm not even sure where all my knives are. I'll be back. This is when you don't know what your children have done with all of your stuff, because they left yesterday in a bit of a rush. So anyway, I'll use this fish bone knife. Anyway, I'm only gonna use about half of this so that it's not too overwhelming. Let's hope I don't start to cry again, as I seem to have done with every other onion I've used on these videos. So I'm gonna give this just a really super rough chop, because this food processor is definitely gonna do all the work for me. A couple of carrots are gonna go into this. You could just scrub them. I'm just going to do a really fast peel, and then throw those in. I just move my book off to the side too. It's got anybody who wants an authentic cookbook and then know that it's been used a lot, you just have to look at how many food stains and splobs there are on their cookbook. So while I peel this, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How's your isolation going? How do you do when you go food shopping? Because that was, like I said, that was a whole other experience for me. Different, because that was the first time that I've been shopping since getting back from our trip. So yeah, that was, how many times have you been out? People are being encouraged to maybe only go out once a week, which means that you got to get your ducks in a row in terms of what you're cooking, what you're making, what you're going to feed your family. And then, wow, is it ever hard not to want to like buy everything and just get like, you know, I don't know, snacks that you think you might like, or something that you think you might like to have, or anything, you know, anything extra. My bill was definitely bigger than usual. And I'm going to be, either tomorrow or the next day, going to be recording next week's podcast. So I actually thought I would talk about the whole shopping experience and how to buy foods and how to store foods, because it's a big question that comes up with a lot of my clients that I've talked to this week. Okay, so I've got carrots in here, I've got some garlic, I've got some onion, I'm throwing in some parsley. You could also throw in cilantro if you want to do dill, that's totally fine too. You can leave some of the stalks of the parsley on, but if you do like I do, then I take these and I hold on to these sticks, and then I have just like a baggie, a Ziploc bag or whatever in the freezer. And then I hold on to things like this and I shove them in there for when I make my broth, when I make my my meat broth, bone broth, whatever kind of broth you want to call it. And because having parsley stems in there are actually really good too. So I'm gonna whiz this up first, just as it is, before I add in the breadcrumbs and the eggs. And it's moving around quite nicely. A little bit chunkier on the carrots are not really moving. So let me just pulse it on the other side. So whenever you use the pulse, it'll kind of like throw it back up and then stick it back, you know, kind of fall back down again. So that's really good. Still one nice big chunk of carrot. All right. I'm trying to do this backwards because normally it's faced the other way around. Oh, the joys of doing, okay, here's this very large piece of carrot. I'm just gonna chop that one again, throw that in. Okay, so here I have about 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs. If you don't have any breadcrumbs, you can either make them yourself by taking some bread, just go into your freezer. Do you not have like bits of bread stuck in the back of your freezer somewhere? Take out the old freezer burn buns or whatever, stick them on a cookie sheet and put them in a fairly low-ish kind of oven because that's perfect for breadcrumbs. And then you just throw them in the blender. If you've got one of those, food processor also works too. So I'm gonna put the breadcrumbs in. I've got half gluten and half gluten-free because again, I was just trying to find what I could, but you can also use oats. You can take anything really. You can grab some oats, put them in your blender, make them sort of a little more dusty into oat kind of flour. I'm going to start with 2 eggs. So this really depends. It depends on what you've added in to the recipe in terms of the breadcrumbs. If it's oats, then they're going to kind of keep on soaking up. Oats tend to do that. They keep on soaking up liquid. Not so much of the breadcrumbs, but the oats definitely will. So you probably want to put about 3 eggs in with this recipe. So lid back on again. Let it do its thing. Now in my book, as you could see from the picture, bean burgers and sweet potato fries. Years ago when I used to exhibit at trade shows like all the time, I would make these for parents to try out, and their babies would love them. And I kind of got known for my sweet potato fries because everybody, especially at the trade shows, would be coming around going, "What's that smell? What's that smell?" And then I'd say, "Well, this is sweet potato fries." They're like, "What?" So they would take them and then just absolutely love them, and also because they were completely exhausted from exhibiting at the trade shows, or the parents just walking around. Okay, that definitely needs another egg because it's just too dry. So start with 2 and then add in 1 more. Throw that in there, get that back on, and I'm just gonna pulse it first. Now these can go in the oven to cook. They can go in a frying pan to cook. I put my cast iron frying pan behind me. I think that really big carrot is finally gonna go through and get munched up. And the texture that we want of these, no, it just will not, look, it's still there. I'm gonna throw it down in the center and try and move it around. Ideally, we don't want anything that's too large going on in there because, well, I guess you can have a chunk of carrot in your mouth when you're having your bean burgers. Sorry, let's get it the right way around. There we go. Oh, the beauty of live videos. I started editing Hadley's video where she's making the muffins, the protein muffins. Oh my god, you guys are gonna absolutely howl to see what happened and see what she did. It's just so tremendous. And she actually even says, "Mom, please make sure that you edit this out," and I'm not going to. That's what moms get to do, right? Okay, that's good. That carrot is not happy, but I just want to make a few just so that you get the idea. Let me turn on my ever so safe hob here because for whatever reason I gotta make sure that I hit that key thing. Anyway, I just like things that are easy and fast. So bean burgers. Now, if you've heard me talk before, I always say that I tend to make everything fairly small and appropriate for like a toddler. So when I make them, I tend to make them, kind of smallish like this, but also because we never really used to have buns when the girls were smaller, I preferred that they filled their little bellies with just this. So that's basically it. You can make a really big one if you want, but also I think for anybody that's a bit resistant to having A bean burger, like seriously having a huge patty. If you're going to use bread fine, this is a really good place where you don't necessarily need to, because remember we've got the breadcrumbs going on in here anyway. So I would just make them kind of this big and then put them straight onto the plate. If you want to put onion on top, they want to do ketchup or mustard or whatever, it doesn't matter. They're already really quite tasty. Now I didn't salt and pepper these, but I tend to do that more out of habit, because typically I'm cooking these for the younger set, and I don't necessarily think that they need to really get that taste for salt and really want it like so many of us do who are in adrenal fatigue. That's sometimes why you really crave the salt, because of extra super duper stress. So anyway, and aren't we all under an awful lot of super duper stress right now? Anyway, so I've got some waves. Hello, I can't quite read everything, because I also don't have my glasses on because of the glare from all the windows. If I would turn this around, you would understand what's behind the camera, because it's all windows, which is why the light keeps on changing. And at about 5 o'clock every day, I think it's going to change. So there we go. There's about 4 of them. I can keep on making them just while my frying pan is heating up. And tell me about your day. Tell me about what you've hey Sandy, tell me about what you've been what have you been making? What's the thing what's your go-to thing right now? What's your go-to food? What's your go-to meal? What's your go-to dinner, breakfast that the family is adoring? And it could just be for a day or two, because we tend to get a little bit bored with foods if you have them too much. That the baked risotto that I made the other night, we're still working on that, and now the girls aren't here, so I have to eat all that myself. And I'm gonna might throw it in the freezer. Make up some risotto balls and then throw them in the freezer for kind of one night when I don't really want to cook and they don't want to cook either. And when they say, no, we just want to, do this or do that, I'll just say, no, we don't need to, because we've got this too. We've got this stuck into the freezer. And you know me, if I say if you're going to make one thing, then you might as well make 2 or 3, or if you're going to make one pizza, make sure that you make 2, if not 3, depending on how many pizza bases you happen to have. Okay, so I'm going to add in some oil. Let me calm that down a little bit. Not the best thing to have your oil smoking, but I was chatting too much. So into this is just going to go all of the bean burgers. I don't really want... Smoking oil is not the best thing, because it tends to change state when you do that. But basically, if you think about what's in here right now, is the carrot. Yes, that could be cooked, but it's got quite well cooked, quite well chopped while it's been in the food processor. So really, we're just trying to warm it all the way through, cook that egg so that it all binds together really well, and then then we're just gonna flip them. So we want them to be a little bit toasted. I'll put that back on here now. We want them just to be a little bit toasted. Once I flip them, then I'll just show you how they're supposed to look in the end. I did get the oven on, but I didn't get the sweet potato fries chopped. Have you guys seen me do the sweet potatoes? Let me just quickly do those for you. I've got about 1 million sweet potatoes, because I was just at the sweet potato. That's one of my favorite places to shop. So you really don't need to, you can peel, you don't have to peel. No, I have to use this silly knife to do this. I do not know. Logan's job is to empty the dishwasher and deal with the kitchen, deal with everything that's in the sink. So sometimes things end up in really odd places. Do you find that when you give your kid a task and they don't really want to do it, so they end up doing it really badly? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Because I have like 1 million knives and I can't even locate one other than this one. Anyway, it shows you that you can sort of chop with as much as you want. I think I know where my bag is, but if you watched me do this last time, then I have a freezer bag which has all the garlic and the paprika already in it, all stuck to the sides. So I just keep on using the same one for a little while, and then I will recycle it and then move on. But the sweet potato fries, I don't know, sometimes, you know, when you have a meal and two things just go really, really well together, and you kind of just make them like that. I mean, I could do the lemony green beans with these. I don't know, there's so many recipes. The kale and beet salad. You could just chop up some beets into this kind of size. That would also be awesome. We've done that a couple of times lately, actually, since being away. And if Crystal, you're still on watching, that was your influence, because while I was away with my lovely friend Crystal, she made up a beautiful veggie tray. And oh, the power of being with other parents sometimes. My kids they're fine with beets, but Crystal just chopped them all up into kind of pieces like this, just these raw beets. And Logan doesn't love hummus, so she didn't have any, but Hadley does, and they ate all the beets. All the raw beets were completely gone. So since we've been back, then we've been enjoying a lot more beets, because before, yes, exactly, celebration, Crystal says, that's, you know, it's just one of those things. So it's always lovely. We can't do it right now. Go to other people's houses and see what else they're doing. So, but it's lovely. It's lovely to try something new. So when you have someone else's influence, like we did, where Crystal made that lovely snack board. My God, this knife is ridiculous. Then that's lasted. So the girls have absolutely exactly says Crystal. Okay, so let me turn these guys over. I don't even have a spatula. So these are looking really lovely. I'll bring them back over to show you. So this is the kind of thing, this is how you want them to look. So it's not so bad so far, right? Oh gosh, the light on Instagram, I'm so sorry everybody. So that's just gonna keep on cooking through, and I will throw these into the Ziploc bag, and you can put whatever seasoning you want onto these, but I do tend to use garlic and paprika. It's kind of just my go-to, and it's also really fast. If you want to use raw garlic too, that's totally fine to do, but really, really super easy to just make a whole tray of them, and they really don't tend to last. Sometimes I've chopped them like this, and like the recipe on, I think it was day 3, cooked together day 3, where I had the whole sheet of sweet potatoes, and I tossed them in garlic, pecorino cheese, which is a sheep's cheese. So if you've got a problem with dairy, then that's a really good alternative as like a Parmesan type of cheese. So that's a super one, and that goes on, and then it sort of just melts a little bit, so it gets a little bit crispy, a little bit crunchy, and then also you've got the garlic in there, so immune boosting again. As much garlic as you can get into everything is absolutely amazing. So I'm gonna go pop these in the oven. These are gonna only take about 20 minutes or so. I'll roll the rest of these whenever you decide that you're gonna try out the bean burgers. Even if you're really not sure, I still think you should try it. Just go for it, why not? The only thing that's gonna happen is your kids are gonna say, or whoever in the family is gonna say, yeah, I don't really like it so much, but why not? Just give it a go. And change up the veggies. If you don't have any carrots, or you don't have any parsley, which I put in there, just go and try something else. Doesn't matter. So for more recipes and more ideas, just search for the hashtag cook together. There's a bunch of other ones around, but I've got 15 videos now. Please make sure that you're taking your supplements. If you have any questions about your supplement routine and everything that you're doing there, and you want to help really bolster your immunity, then you can also listen to my Eat This with Leanne podcast, which came out on Monday, and then I'll have a fresh new one coming out on this coming Monday, fresh from my new recording studio, aka my closet. So we're working on the audio. The audio has not been so great, so we're just working on that, myself and Chris, my technical producer. So there's lots and lots of ways to find out all sorts of information, and you must watch out for the video that I'm almost finished editing of Hadley making those muffins. The muffins are incredible, but really what happens halfway through the video is even more incredible. She won't like me after that, but it doesn't matter, it's all good. So I'll see you tomorrow. I haven't even thought that far ahead. I gotta go through what I have found. If there's a particular recipe or something you need breakfast ideas, or you might need lunch ideas, then do let me know. Just leave a comment below, and I'm gonna go and rescue these bean burgers via coming to switch off the video because Logan's not here, and I will see you same time, same place tomorrow. So thanks so much for being here. See you later.